Hello, this is Alan Wheeler on my YouTube channel where I have been talking about spirituality and the tarot. And today I'm going to try to retell the story of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight briefly, and then apply that using the Morgan Greer tarot. I was going to draw three tarot cards and one Oham stick, and then inadvertently two other cards fell out, so I will include those as well. I'm here at my altar where I've got incense burning, a candle going as well. Here's my statue of the Morrigan, and so we'll begin. Let's see if I can recall the story well. It was New Year's Day at Camelot, and the knights are gathered around King Arthur's round table, celebrating. The king is, I think there's a custom that someone can ask a boon on this day, and into the celebration appears a fearsome knight without armor on a green horse, and he himself is all green. And this somewhat terrifying figure offers the challenge that whoever would like can take a hit upon him with all his might, and then in return must, in a year and a day, receive a hit from the Green Knight. No one is up to the challenge, it seems, and King Arthur is about to take the challenge himself when I believe the youngest, least experienced knight, Sir Gawain, offers to take the challenge. And so the Green Knight kneels, bares his neck, and in one fell swoop, Gawain chops his head off. And I don't know, it may appear for a minute as though all the drama is over, but then suddenly the knight lifts his own head up and the lips begin speaking that he will indeed see Sir Gawain in a year and a day at the Green Chapel in the forest. And off he gallops, holding his head on his green horse. So in the after the ensuing year, Sir Gawain heads off, and many adventures are alluded to, but finally he arrives at a castle in the forest where he's greeted by a lord and a lady. There's also a strange older lady there at the castle who they pay much honor to, and they talk Gawain into staying until his duties call him on after the new year. Then comes another folk motif similar to the earlier challenge, and the lord of the castle, the host, offers an exchange. So he will go off hunting, and when he returns each night, he will give Gawain what he has hunted, what he has gained, and Gawain is to exchange with him whatever he has gained during the day while he was away. On the first day, the lord of the castle returns with a deer that he has slain. While he was away, the lady of the castle has come into Gawain's chambers and basically tried to entice him into a tryst, torn between his code of honor and the call of courtly love to honor his host, the lady. He allows one kiss, and that's it. So when the hunter returns, Gawain receives the deer from the Lord, and the Lord receives one kiss from Gawain. On day 2, much the same thing happens, but this time Gawain receives 2 kisses from the lady of the castle. The Lord returns with a wild boar that he has slain and gives it to Gawain, and Gawain gives him 2 kisses. On the 3rd day, the plot thickens, and the overtures of the lady are even more intense, and yet Gawain still withstands them, and she also offers him a green belt, which makes the wearer invulnerable to attacks. And Gawain accepts it, and she makes him, probably out of fear for his life in the coming encounter, and the lady makes him promise not to tell the host that he has received it. And 3 kisses ensue. When the host returns, he presents a fox to Gawain, and Gawain gives him 3 kisses, but says nothing about the green belt. Well, New Year's Day comes, and Gawain must leave. He makes his way to the green chapel, and under his armor he is wearing the green belt. Lo and behold, the Green Knight appears, and Gawain offers his neck, and after 2 feints and flinches, finally the blade comes down and nicks Gawain on the neck, and the resolution, the denouement, the Green Knight reveals himself to have been the lord of the castle, and Gawain confesses that he has the green belt, and he returns to Camelot humbled and confesses his shortcomings. However, the Green Knight says he is the most courageous of knights, and the Knights of the Round Table likewise applaud Gawain, and they wear green sashes in his honor. The end. So I asked the cards, how can we apply this medieval folk tale to modern life? And so I drew the 3 cards, and 2 other cards fell out. And I drew an ogham stick as well. So the 2 cards that fell out, I'm going to look at as maybe a hermeneutic clue, or something to help break the code of the other cards. But the Ace of Rods appears, and the World card. And along with them, the ogham stick Gort, which stands for ivy. In the more positive sense, it stands for connection, that kind of network. It almost reminds me of this integration of all the elements in the world card in a way. In shadow, it can mean constraint as well. But taken together, these kind of tell me that the story shows us a good impulse, this Ace of Rods, this fiery desire to serve and to take on this great challenge that stirs in Gawain's heart. And of course, the ultimate end of any story, this beautiful, whether it's seen as the connection with the anima mundi or the all the elements coming together in a satisfying conclusion to a life or to a story, we have the world card. And so this is kind of the ideal, the noble impulse, that fiery will, and this perfect outcome that I think is the meaning is supplemented by this idea of the connection and communion of the Gort stick. So let's look at the cards I actually drew from the Morgan Greer Tarot here. And the Morgan Greer Tarot features the Queen of Swords here on the box. And quite appropriately, two of the cards were knights, and the Seven of Cups in the middle. And so after, I just drew these earlier, but after sitting with them briefly, I do see this as the pure and ideal impulse that we have often at the beginning of ventures or our heart's desire, and that Gawain had in taking up the challenge. But as he sets out, I see more of the energy of the Knight of Swords here. And this is a little more of the physical battle and taking matters into his own hands in a way as he goes off on these adventures. And they're only alluded to in the story. They're not really charted out or described in detail. But we do know from the poem that he passes through these kind of adventures, but they're glossed over. And this is kind of to me, the unimportant things that we get caught up in. Whatever project we start with good intent, whether it's making a YouTube video or creating something or a relationship, whatever that kind of calling might be, we can kind of get in our own mind, our monkey mind can take over, and we get caught up in the fight and this energy of the Knight of Swords. And so that's how I'm applying that from the story. Now, also very appropriately, I drew the Seven of Cups, and I can just imagine the kind of the fantastical anxiety that Gawain might have been going through as well, knowing that he has a year in which that after it passes he has to face this supernatural enemy, and he may not know what the result could be. And so we see there's the mask of persona here, and here's the venomous snake, and the beautiful woman, and the castle. So a lot of these possibilities, success, failure, can kind of drive us to distraction as we're going on our adventures, on our quest. Whoops, wrong card there. On our quest. And one of those, here in the Morgan Greer, is this victory wreath, which we actually do see in the world card. But sometimes this, what we imagine in our dream, in our mind, the things we kind of cook up, may be different from the true fruit of our labors and the true goal that comes about. Because that connection and that communion, that community, maybe actually be the good result that's desired. But what are we striving for? Personal success, for money that's here today and gone tomorrow. And so that's a very, I think, what we go through in life mirrors Gawain's hopes and fears, perhaps, on his adventure. In the end, Gawain does make mistakes, but he stays true to his course. He's faithful. And interestingly, Gawain's shield does have the pendangle on it, the five-pointed star, and it's described at great length, and all the various meanings. There's 5 sets of 5 qualities that the shield represents for Gawain, and it appears on this card as well. But that energy of the Knight of Pentacles feels to me very true to the end of the story of Gawain and the Green Knight, as he returns humbled and no longer rushing out, striving in his own strength, but at peace, faithfully, and after this strange, fantastical experience in which he has perhaps enlightenment of a kind and encounters the supernatural, he's back to chopping wood and making fires and the more mundane aspects of life, and heading back to his everyday life. And so his story encouraged his fellow knights as he returned, and I hope the story and the interpretation by the cards has some encouragement for you. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I hope you feel connection with people in your life and in online community, as well as on your spiritual path, whatever that might be. Take care.